Are there actually piranha that can fly?
And are these those kind of piranha?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And quickly to answer those questions, yes, and nope. Why would you suggest that when it's easier to make up a convoluted story about splicing DNA? Anyway.
Exactly. Go map those up.
So this week we're doing a couple years ago, I think we've done the original Piranha.
Yes.
And we've done the remake
Piranha 3D.
Did we do 3 Double D?
I've never seen it, so I hope not.
Okay. But because we're doing 4 animal killer movies, yeah, or creature features as they like to call them, we decided I've owned this one for a while. And I will say, when he heard that they were crossbred with flying fish or whatever, he's like, that is so dumb, I have no interest. We'll see. That's what you said originally. You're like, I don't want to watch that. That sounds so dumb. That's why it sat there for over a year before I got you to watch it.
Okay.
Luckily, we didn't have any Wi-Fi and needed something for this week and owned that. Otherwise, we would have probably ended up watching something else that he hated like last week. I won't tell you how he feels about this one. He'll get to that later. But you fought hard not to watch this movie for a while.
I don't remember that at all.
I do.
Okay.
But anyway, basic premise is the government in the first one was involved with like these piranhas or whatever, and a bunch of them were on a capsized boat, and they escaped into fresh water. Or no, not fresh water. No, it was the ocean water. And because they were crossbred, they also could survive that way. And there's a resort, and people are being attacked by piranha.
Yes.
And there's a woman who's a scuba diver, teacher, and she also happens to know most of the fish in the area, and she's trying to figure out what was killing these people. And she didn't expect it to be piranha because it was the ocean.
And that's not where they usually hang out.
I think I told you this, but I think I'd be more afraid of piranha in the ocean than sharks, because at least the shark was supposed to be there.
Well, and there's only going to be like one shark.
If I'm eaten by a shark, like in the ocean, I'm like, I was in his house. If I'm eaten by piranha, I'm angry. I'm rather pissed off, actually, because I'm like, what are you doing here? You have less right than me.
Kinda.
Or at least the same amount of no rights.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's watch the trailer and see what you think.
Sleek, fierce, savage, deadly. The Piranha. For centuries, nature's most ferocious killer. Until now. The new breed is here. Faster, more ferocious, and infinitely more deadly. Piranha 2.
It's tremendous jaw pressure. It's sure to clean me through bone in places.
It's here. it's multiplying.
We spliced in genes from different species to create the ultimate killer organism.
It lives in the depths of the sea, but it can strike anywhere.
Loretta! Loretta, what is this?
A super breed of killer fish that can swim, fly, and attack at any time. They bred the ultimate killing machine. Now, you're not safe out of the water. Piranha 2, Flying Killers.
That's right. That was the trailer for Piranha 2, The Spying.
Exactly. And we'll get into that. But before we get into the behind-the-scenes information, I think it's only fair that we explain to you what we're doing here. See, people think, and I've had people come up to me and go, hey, I like that show where you review horror movies. And we do review horror movies. But it's like they obviously aren't understanding why. See, we do it because we needed an excuse to have some sort of show so that then we could try to find someone to pay us money to advertise their things. And that only happens, like, people don't do that if you're just, working at a grocery store.
Correct.
We both know this. No one just walks up and say, advertise this and we'll give you money. You had someone walk up and say, advertise this and gave you a hat.
Yes.
But not money.
Not money.
So what we do is we put it out there that we would like to sell ourselves, prostitute ourselves, so that we can get people to give us truckloads and truckloads of money and promote their products.
Indeed. So
this week, the actual products that really exist and you can actually purchase are, let's see, Gory Storytime is brought to you by the law offices of Milcom, Bilcom, Steele, and Smith. How many times have bad things been known to be coming, and whoever's in charge decides to keep it quiet for financial reasons? Amity Island staying open knowing a shark was eating folks. Camp Crystal Lake has murders every year and they refuse to close. So, if you or a loved one has been killed because of negligence of others, call the law offices of Milcom, Bilcom, Steele, and Smith, and we'll get you the compensation you deserve. Milcom, Bilcom, Steele, and Smith. We fight for you. Not licensed in the 48 contiguous states. Contiguous, not contiguous. I said it wrong.
And by Fred's Fantastic Fish Fry, the seafood restaurant that is dedicated to serving only the most tropical and rare fish. If it's edible and from the sea, we will cook it up right for you. Chinese swamp eel, sunfish, jellyfish, sea cucumber, and more. Come on in for lunch or dinner Monday through Saturday. We don't close Sunday for religious reasons. We just go fishing that day. Fred's Fantastic Fish Fry, where we scrape the bottom of the ocean and feed it to you.
Perfect. All right. Now, the basic storyline, like I said, is these fish escape, and the woman who is trying to figure out what's eating people has a son and has a husband that she's estranged from that lives in the area that they basically wanted to make be the sheriff from Jaws, except it didn't work. And there's a guy who took scuba lessons from her that is now her new boyfriend because, she's technically not with her husband even though they're still married. Or he wants to be the new boyfriend. I won't get into how that works because I don't want to spoil too much from this movie from 1981.
Yes.
But that's basically the premise. People are at the resort because there's a kind of fish that comes in after like the first full moon, after whatever solstice or whatever it is. And they want to like scoop them up so that they can be eaten at the resort. Catching them, like the resort tricks them into paying extra to go out there, catch these things, and then give them to them to cook and sell back to them. Smart. So that's basically the premise. Anyway, you go ahead and go first. We'll get the behind the scenes or the meat and beef of this.
In an interview, James Cameron said this movie gets better halfway through when seen at the drive-in with a 6-pack of beer.
Taglines for Piranha 2 included "A New Breed of Terror," "Who's for Dinner?" "The Terror is Back, but this time it flies." "They bred the ultimate killing machine. Now you're not safe out of the water." There was a couple others, but those were the better ones.
Although this is the first official directing credit for James Cameron, most of the work was actually done by Video G.
Asantis.
Okay.
Asanitis? Something
Asanitis. The film's producer and prolific filmmaker, Asanitis, had made a deal with a small label at Warner Bros. For a budget of $500,000 to produce the movie, provided that an American was credited as director.
Video G. Asanitis, or whatever, manipulated the situation to rewrite half the movie, adding nudity that wasn't originally in the script. Cameron then broke into the editing room every night for weeks and cut his own version. Unfortunately, Asanitis found out and recut it again. The most widely distributed version that's available on DVD is Asanitis' version, although Cameron was later allowed to create a director's cut that saw a limited release in some markets. I kind of want to see what...
I thought that was the version that we watched because it said that on the case, no?
No.
Oh. All right. Where am I? 5.
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron refused to reuse the flying piranha effects in Aliens for the facehuggers.
When it comes at them, it was the same exact effect. Mm-hmm.
I guess.
No, it's true. And it makes sense if you actually think about them coming at your face. Like, it's the same shot. In an interview, James Cameron once joked, "I believe that Piranha 2: The Spawning was the finest flying piranha movie ever made."
Director James Cameron arrived in Jamaica 1 week before shooting was supposed to start. He was dismayed to find out that they had not yet secured a single shooting location or even finished a complete set. Cameron grabbed the production cash wallet and a Polaroid camera and offered the first person that he saw with a car and some money to drive him around the island. Cameron scouted the filming locations himself, paid for them in cash, and secured every deal through handwritten contracts.
One of the only 2 James Cameron films not scored by James Horner or Brad Fiedel. Stephen Stelvio, as Steve Powder, did the score for the film.
The concept of flying piranhas was an idea of a Warner Bros. Executive.
James Cameron's name remained on the picture despite having been fired, as the film was contractually obligated to have an American name cited as director. Cameron considered suing the production to have his name removed, but he couldn't come up with the money for a lawsuit as he was sleeping on a friend's couch at the time.
Yikes. While filming in Rome, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica, yeah. James Cameron had to struggle with a crew made up of Italians who didn't speak English. Jeez.
When asked about the film, James Cameron said, "I was replaced after 2.5 weeks by an Italian producer. He just fired me and took over, which is what he wanted to do when he hired me. It wasn't much later that I even figured out what had happened. It was like, oh man, I thought I was doing a good job. But when I saw what they were cutting together, it was horrible."
The late 70s and into the 80s, there were many Jaws ripoffs. Some notable ones include Orca from 77, Piranha 78, Tentacles 77, Killer Fish 79, Barracuda 78, Tintorera, Killer Shark 77, Blood Beach 80, Piranha 2: The Spawning 81, The Last Shark 81, Up from the Depths 79, Humanoids from the Deep 80, The Island of Fishermen 79, Devilfish from 84, and Mako, The Jaws of Death 76.
Video G. Asanitis was set to produce a 3rd entry in the Piranha series in the early 1990s, but the proposed 3rd entry never materialized.
Despite her British ethnicity, Carol Davis's voice is dubbed by another actress in the English language version, most likely to make her sound American.
Film debut of Ricky Paul Golden. I don't know. Who that is.
Barbara Steele was originally considered to reprise her role as Dr. Mengers, but was unavailable. Had Steele returned, Dr. Mengers was to have been killed off.
Cameron confirmed that he shot the morgue scene and one outdoor daylight scene on the ocean. The rest was mostly shot by a sonetist.
In the beginning, Gabby Ansile Glouden throws Steve, Lance Henriksen, a lit stack of dynamite while saying, "Think fast," forcing Steve quickly to throw it away before it explodes. A similar gag was seen between Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese at the end of The Terminator with unlit dynamite, which was James Cameron's next movie.
It's also known as Piranha 2, Flying Killers, originally when released in the UK.
No wonder.
And that's what it says in the film itself.
And in the trailer.
Yep.
But not on the poster, or on the cover, or anything else.
Odd.
Yes.
All right. Now, we're 3 in.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yes.
Rotten Tomatoes is a website that takes all of the reviews from the critics and has a section for the people and tells you what percentage of them say it was a good movie or say it was a bad movie, and you can look at that with or without caring about what they think. But
it's basically an average. It's like, 75% of the critics like this, or, 50% of the critics like this. It gives you an idea of, okay, it's widely loved by the people or hated by the people. Same with the critics, depending on the movie.
Indeed. The critics that reviewed this movie, only 6% of them said that it was good.
The people, and with horror and with comedy, a couple of big genres, they tend to go higher than the critics, and that's the case here. Almost doubled at 11%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm too proud of those two numbers.
Well, there's nothing about it that should cause you pride. So
I can't say I'm happy with them.
let's talk about our favorite and least favorite scenes. Let's go least favorite first.
Least favorite scene first? Mm-hmm. All right. So, it was slightly shown in the trailer, so I'm spoiling something that wasn't actually shown in the trailer, which was, it's not the sheriff. He's not actually the sheriff. Who is he?
I mean, yeah.
He is actually the sheriff.
He's like the local law enforcement guy.
Well, so he has a helicopter. And for no reason, he's not being attacked at this point. He just jumps out of his helicopter into the water and lets it hit the water and explode to get onto a boat. Now, I don't know why he would just let his helicopter explode. That bothered me at the time, and I said something too.
You did.
But, who in their right mind? You know how expensive a helicopter is?
No, I've never bought one. How expensive are they?
Really expensive.
Oh, well.
More expensive than a car.
The specificity.
Yes.
Specificity.
The syphilis or whatever you're saying.
Not that, yeah. I'm trying to words poorly, apparently. My least favorite part. Boy, let me think. Honestly, it had to be, the fact that it was obvious that this sheriff was meant to be Sheriff Brody from Jaws. They dressed him similar. They tried they tried to make a guy who doesn't really look like him look more like him in shots. And it's like, let Jaws be Jaws. You do your thing.
Yes.
What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene. So you saw a little bit of this in the trailer as well. But there's a scene where a woman is in the morgue looking at a dead body, and out of the dead body, out of a little hole in the dead body, a fish comes out unleashes
after
its dragon wings.
After hours and hours and hours of this person being dead. It's like that night they found the body in the morning. That night someone broke in, and this is what happens.
And so the fish pokes its head out, and then spreads its scaly dragon wings, flies up to her already bloodied neck, and just chomps, kills her viciously.
And he paused it just to show, and he's like, "Look, it hasn't bit yet," and she already had the blood.
Like
on
it was here, and she had blood all the way down already before he even bit her.
The problem was they wanted to show it latch on, but it was like a puppet or whatever. So how do you do the blood?
That? Yeah, right.
Like maybe you have blood in the mouth part, and then you go like this, and when you squeeze, it squirts out or something. But
that would have less blood. And we needed that much blood in that scene.
We did. It sounds bad, but
the fish are the best part of this movie.
It's fun bad. My favorite part, I would have to say, is honestly, you'd think I would have thought of this ahead of time.
I mean, there's enough of this movie that is perfect.
It's so. How about the fact that there were multiple story threads that just kind of went away? Like the main character and her ex-husband have a child that wanted to work on a boat, and then suddenly he's just not in the film anymore.
And he comes back at the end.
I mean, but
for no reason.
But like his whole thing was
connected to the other thing,
right? Like there was a girl that heard someone was a doctor, so she pretends to be hurt, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm a DDS, I'm a dentist," but they still end up together or whatever. But it's like they made like a big thing, and then like it had been so long. I was like, "Are they gonna ever get back to them?" And you're like, "Their story's over." I'm like, "Why?"
Because she found out he was a dentist, and they left happily ever after. And that was the end.
It was funny because like that would normally bother me not finishing threads, but none of the side stories really mattered because you're there to watch flying piranha eat people's faces.
I mean, the closest thing to a thread that got finished was there was like that ugly girl that was going to steal the food, and the slow cook,
but just
stopped her.
To me, it was funny. Normally in a real movie, like
in a real movie,
but like
listen here,
in a quality film, stop. They would try to tie up all the loose ends. This movie should have been called Piranha 2: Loose Ends Abound, and it didn't bother me. It bothered me more that they're like, here's just so you know, this one lived. I'm like, I don't care.
Like, what are you doing going back to something?
Like. I'm here.
Every scene is a new
for the
slate.
death fish.
All right,
that's it.
Every scene is a clean slate.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10,
I'm gonna say right now that this movie is one of the best movies we've reviewed in a long time.
Now, put this on not a normal horror movie scale because this, when he gives his number, he's not comparing it to The Shining or The Exorcist. He's comparing it to Killer Clowns and Killer Tomatoes. Which, by the way, are amazing movies that you should watch.
Yes, you should.
But it's that he's rating it on the scale of what it is. It's a B movie. It lives in B movie land.
It wants to be a C movie. All right, it's not quite a B movie. It's C- movie wanting to be a C+ movie.
And it's so perfect at it that it's almost an A.
Yes, I mean.
Anyway,
I'm gonna have to say that I give this movie a 9.
I'm going to give it an 8, but again, on the same scale of if you like So Bad They're Good, this is
if you
a great one of those.
If you like way too much blood.
If you like Toxic Avenger, if you like...
And not
Cannibal the Musical.
Good special effects.
Anything from Trauma.
Oh my goodness. Like this belongs on that list.
Like this is that kind of movie, and it's great for that. If that's not your interest, don't watch it.
This is way better than the first
one.
This
watch
is
the first
comedy
one because
movie.
it's connected.
This is this is like utter sheer comedy and horror, and it's amazing.
So I said 8, you said 9. Let's
roll that side of the screen thing. All right. Fact TV. You could watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076 Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can check us out on Facebook and like us. And by us, I mean Gory Storytime has a page. Fact TV that produces the show has a page. Like them both. They live stream a lot of stuff.
Yes. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of back episodes of this show.
You could check out the old Twitter handle of mine, which is at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word.
And I'm at Jiggly Firmbrain. I don't tweet things about the show unless he says something about the show, because they're all things that he says that I find funny in or out of context.
He just tweeted some last night. So
and
follow
I think
that.
this morning.
Oh, did you? Maybe. Could be. Last night there was a couple, I know that.
Oh, yeah, there were.
There's like 3 back-to-back.
Yeah, you were just like not shutting the heck
and
up.
And check out the YouTube page, Juggalo Jakes, and Fact TV has one. Type in Gory Storytime. Both of them should come up because they post on both. And subscribe. There's sketches. There's music on mine. There's a bunch of different stuff. There's other shows. They've got a bunch of shows on theirs. So, check them out.
Indeed. And until next week, with our 4th and final animal creature feature, I have been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.